Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Looks like we have got Uncle Lou in here. Got Austin from Kentucky Redneck, Mr.
Yeah, let
Brian
me
B.
let me start at the top here.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin just has joined our YouTube membership. I think we have it labeled as our 3+1 family. So thank you,
Thank you.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Got 351 in here. Matt from Wanna Be Outdoors is in the house. Got Randall, Whisker Seeker Outdoors. How's it going, Randall? CVA's in the house. How's it going, CVA?
What's up?
Uncle Lou. Buggy's in here as well. Thanks for coming in, Buggy. We got B in the house. How's it going, B? 922 Crappie Barbecue. How's it going? And Austin from K-Rod Redneck Outdoors. Welcome, welcome. Getting closer to the bottom here. Mike Greenwell. Chad from Fields to Water. How's it going?
What's up? What's up?
And I think we're called up Fishing with Squirrel.
Fishing with the Squirrel. What's up, Squirrel?
All right. So those that have watched us for a while know we used to do a Thursday night show. We got away from it because things got really busy on Thursday nights for us, but we got time to do them now, so we wanted to get back into it. Welcome in, Miss Chrissy. So we are calling this Let's Get Real Season 2. That was the name of the one we did before, so we just call this Season 2. And our inaugural guest for Season 2 is going to be Chris and Telly Lee from Hooks and Hammocks.
All right. And hello, Kevin, Silent Fishing.
So, ready to bring them on up, Daddy?
Bring them on up. Bring the stars on up. There they are.
Did you say inaugural?
Yes, he did.
Inaugural?
Can you spell that?
No.
I can't either.
He might Google
No.
it real quick.
You have
I
a
can ask-
smartphone.
I can ask Siri how to spell it.
Well,
Well, first off, how's the weather up y'all's way? Because I know everybody's
Cold.
worrying about the weather right now. So let's get
We are in the change.
Yep, it's 25 degrees out now.
An hour and a half ago, it was 46. It's 25 now and dropping fast.
And snowing. Very windy also.
Well, that's no fun. But we're
same
gonna
thing's headed on toward us. I guess it's hitting y'all a little before us.
And we've got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm off. Well, I'm supposed to work next Wednesday, but that's going to be debated.
Well, we got to leave at 4:30 in the morning to be at work on time. So
Ooh.
Yep.
See,
No.
driving in the dark on top of all of it. Y'all leave out plenty early and take your time.
hammer down.
I mean,
Just
we'll
throw
get
it
there when
forward.
we get there.
So, for anybody out there that don't know, won't you tell us who you are?
Well, I'm Telly and she's Chris. I'm Chris. This is my wife, my beautiful wife, Telly. Our YouTube channel is called Hooks and Hammocks. We're also on the TikTok. A little bit of Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, but mostly I'd say 95% YouTube.
95%.
We love fishing. We love camping.
And cooking.
I love eating.
Yes.
Telly loves cooking.
That right there is something.
And fishing and camping. I love it all.
That's something, the eating and cooking, that's something my wife and I have in common. She likes to cook and I like to eat.
Yeah.
Hey,
It works out
nothing
pretty
wrong
good.
with it.
That's why we got married. I needed somebody that could cook and she needed somebody that could taste test.
Well, you just said that, so if you don't mind me asking, how did you two meet?
Are you going to answer it?
Go ahead.
We met at work.
At work.
Not where
Yep.
we're working now, but a previous job. She was in quality and I was in production. I didn't have the title of supervisor, but I basically supervised the area and kept everything running. And she came over and tried to shut us down all the time.
Yep. They were making bad material.
It's not it's not much different than what y'all's home life is now.
Right.
No. Well, then we were working at a place. We made the Ziploc bags, the slide lock bags. They're SC Johnson slide lock bags. There used to be a commercial. The commercial was they had 2 bags full of water and had goldfish in them. They held them upside down. One of them leaked.
One of them didn't.
We made the ones that leaked.
Yep.
So is that the plastic injection molding?
No, it was extrusion.
Extrusion.
So they would extrude the film in one part, and then we would take it and run it through the machines and put the zipper and the slide lock on it.
Right.
That's what we did.
Cool.
You're going to have to stop reading chat.
I can't help it.
Right.
So anyway, she was in quality. She was in quality, and I was in production. So we argued like cats and dogs. And now we both work together, but I'm in quality and she's in production. So now I'm the boss at work and at home.
Oh my.
All right. Well,
So
thanks
the
for
roles
getting
have changed.
maybe at work. He can spin that however he wants. So
Y'all believe what you want to believe.
All right. So what's an interesting fact you could that people wouldn't know about you two?
I don't know. We're kind of an open book. I mean,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
something they don't know about us.
hmm.
Well, I mean, I just gave one. Maybe they didn't know that I was the boss at work and at home.
Hell, I don't know.
I really don't know because I mean,
Liver makes me gag.
yeah, she won't touch liver. We're not even allowed to bring it in the house.
Really?
Or use it as catfish bait.
Yeah.
I like liver. All right.
so y'all
Mm-mm.
y'all primarily hunt blue cats, or y'all's preferred fish to hunt is blue cats, even though those aren't really that native to where y'all live.
They're not
Correct.
native at all. They're
Not
non-existent
here.
here. We have to travel for them, and we have to minimum hour and a half to get to the Ohio River. Hour and 20 minutes.
Well, and y'all don't mind traveling. Y'all like to drive, see new places, do all that.
Oh,
jazz.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oops.
especially when we're going to meet other YouTubers and subscribers. I mean, that's what we love.
So,
Go ahead.
so what has been your what's been your most favorite trip you've ever made to create content?
Well, I'll have to break that up a little bit because my favorite trip of this year was the last time we went to Virginia and she caught her 70. That's the highlight of my year. Watching her catch that fish, I can't imagine anything ever topping that unless she catches a bigger one.
Well,
Pretty
that was pretty
Big
awesome.
fish.
so something that might quite a few people in chat might find helpful is being y'all are used to fishing new waters so often. What's the first thing you do when you get in your mind, hey, I'm going to go to this place. I've never been there before. What's the first thing you do? Because y'all seem
First
to be
thing I
pretty
do-
productive everywhere y'all go.
First thing I do is tell her to work out all the details and buy the food and figure out where we're staying. And then I go to Navionics.
Maybe.
Oh, he's not wrong.
So, is there anything in particular you're looking for on Navionics? Is that the only background or research you do when looking
I
into
like
waters?
I like ledges and I like creek mouths or openings that have points and the ledges, that something I know, at least in my mind, I can think, hey, I can, because we like dragging and suspending. Not a big fan of sitting still and fishing. Just I do it when we have to, But I like to, look at those maps and think, okay, I can drag that ledge and that'll drag me over this hump or over that point or across that creek mouth. that's when I look at Navionics, that's the kind of stuff I look for. You know, that deep water, shallow water, ledge, and different structure in between. You know what I mean? I like dragging over those humps, over points, things like that.
And far as all the places y'all have been, what water and maybe not what trip, because you've obviously done told us, you know, being able to watch Telly catch that fish, it was great, something you'll always remember for the rest of your life. But where'd you enjoy the most? Like, where do you see yourself going back to?
Tennessee.
Tennessee River.
I mean, the meet and greet was the first time we got to fish the Tennessee River. And I mean, the meet and greet, you know, had we went down there just by ourselves, I think we still would have enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But because of everybody that was there and getting to meet the new people and the people we'd already met and fish with everybody, that just made it that much more enjoyable. But we, you know, at that campground on Chickamauga, it was a nice campground. That area was nice. It was beautiful sitting there. We're looking over the lake while you're camping. But then when we went down to that Raccoon Mountain area and we fished in there,
oh my word,
it's just unbelievable. It's beautiful.
there's nothing like it.
So
It is.
we fell in love with it. You know, we decided we said we were going to go back at least 3 or 4 more times. Now we haven't been able to do it, but it's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been down to that area 3 or 4 times.
We haven't been as far down as Raccoon Mountain.
No, we haven't.
Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous.
But I always enjoy going down there and fishing. It's the thing of it is, I feel like it's one of those places at any time you could catch a fish of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, or be smacked. I mean,
I should have had that
Yes,
video queued up to show everybody.
She caught her PB down there and it smacked her upside her head. It didn't knock any sense into her, but
no, it did not.
So, well, is there any places that you've got in the back of your mind that you still want to visit? Places that are kind of on the bucket list?
yep,
Several.
I mean, for me, I want to go to Wilson and Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go Santee Cooper.
I want to go to the Potomac.
We definitely want to fish the Potomac. I want to fish the James.
Yep.
I mean, we're leaving out a big one. I want to go fish with Creole.
Oh well, yeah.
And I want to go fish with Uncle Luke.
Those are the top
All right.
2.
So you hit some of the ones that, you know, the James River, Wilson, Wheeler, Mississippi River. A lot of these places, you know, are all known for holding, you know, trophy fish and amazing numbers of them. But if you had to pick one, if you had to go on a trip, you was getting took on a trip tomorrow, you could go anywhere, what would that one place be?
Now we're talking strictly fishing, not people.
Not based on who's there or any of that. You know, it's just you and Telly going. What waterway?
I think I got to say Wheeler.
I was just getting ready to say Wilson or Wheeler.
Yeah, and you know we've been to Chattanooga a few times, and it's no further to Wilson or Wheeler for us than it is there. So the next we really have to get make a trip there. Me and Dad does. It's to one or the other. Probably Wheeler first, but it's just about 4-hour drive. It's not terrible. It's not a short trip, but it's not a terrible drive either. We got a question here from Stan 3. He says, what do you think the most important thing you've learned since y'all started this catfish journey? It's a great question.
Wow, there's so many things. I mean, so let me answer it with a little bit of a story, I guess, because when I first found catfishing on YouTube, I didn't know. I mean, I grew up catfishing with my dad, but that meant you went out at night, you sat on a riverbank, you threw your lines in with chicken liver, and that was the only bait you ever used, and you sat and waited. That's how you catfished. You didn't go out in a boat. You didn't go out during the day. You didn't do any of that. That's how you catfished, and we would catch a couple of catfish here and there, and they were always channel cats. At the time, to me, that was just catfish, you know. I knew there was a flathead, and I knew there was catfish. I didn't know the difference between a blue and a channel until I started getting into this YouTube and I start seeing these people catching these giant catfish. I'm like, well, I know how to catfish. So I start going out around here and I'm thinking, why can't, and it's in January. And I'm like, why can't I catch them? I'm not catching any fish. What's going on? I don't understand. And it took me a while to figure out that, well, number one, they're not here. Number two, everything slows down so much in the winter up here. You're not going to catch any flatheads, and the channel cats are going to be even harder to catch, or not harder than flatheads, but harder than blues. So I guess back to the question was, what was it? What did I learn? Mm-hmm. I learned that if I want to catch these fish, I've got to travel. I mean,
yeah.
Plus, there's so many other things too. I mean, finding Chad and J-Dog and everybody else that we fished with that taught us so much. I didn't know anything about dragon baits till I fished with Chad and talked to Chad. I mean, we went from not knowing anything at all to now she's got a 70 and I've got an 80. Mm-hmm. And I never in a million years ever thought we would catch a fish that big.
Well, let's snowball off that question of stand threes. And because you are a really productive fisherman, y'all have caught some amazing fish, and y'all catch pretty good numbers of fish, especially for the areas you're fishing. You're catching amazing numbers. What has been the one thing you learned that helped you to have success, whether it be a technique or something you're looking for on your graph or whatever it may be? What do you think is that one thing that really changed your catfishing skill level?
Well, I mean, I'm about to go to the bait and then learning how to work that trolling motor and set those. I mean, because we love dragging and we love drifting. Mm-hmm. And I say drifting, but a lot of times I'm just suspending. I'm using the trolling motor to do what I want to do, put everything straight down. But learning how to record a track and follow that track and do all that and making sure that you're using good bait. Because like I said, I grew up used chicken liver. That was the catfish bait. Never occurred to me to take a fish and cut it up and use it for catfish bait.
We always use night crawlers.
Yeah, and she always used night crawlers. So, I mean, I know that's basic stuff, but you got to start with the basics.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, up until about 2 years ago, my idea of catfishing was either stick your hand, wait for noodling season, stick your hand in a hide and pull one out, set a limb line, or go out with light tackle and catch channel cats.
Yeah.
And we have big blues and some decent sized flatheads here in the home lake. It's just, it was never even a thought in my mind to target them with a rod and reel. And, because we fished other ways growing up, Daddy loved noodling and always took us and stuff. And so it was just completely different. And the stuff that seems trivial, whether it be just good bait and what is good bait, I really didn't start thinking about that stuff up until a few years ago myself.
Yeah, the importance of good fresh bait, you can't stress that enough. And unfortunately for someone like what you're talking, that's only ever fished for channel cats and only just fished from the bank and caught a few fish, to them, they think, oh, this bait's got to be stinky. Got to have this stinky bait.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's further from the truth. You got to have good.
I used to put the chicken liver in the sun and wait for it to start turning green. Right. And then you went catfishing with it.
Yeah, and that's why Kelly won't let you have liver around. You run right off the bat.
Yeah, I don't blame her for not liking liver now.
Well, my idea of the best catfish bait when I was a kid, I remember Daddy would make hamburgers and Wheaties stink bait. Yep. It was onions, bananas, cornflakes, or Wheaties or something like that.
Yep.
And
that's
hamburger meat.
Yeah.
Rotten bananas. Well, I can't remember what else went in it. And you mix it all together in a 5-gallon bucket and you left it outside year round. And
Limburger cheese. We used to do a lot of Limburger cheese too.
So, well, Robin C has a question here. She says, "What would be your biggest must know for new catfish anglers?" And I'll let us all four of us answer it. Let's start with Miss Telly.
You don't have to have the most expensive rod and reel to start.
True. Very
That's a
true.
good one.
One of the biggest fish I ever caught come on a rod and reel. I give $16 for, and it was pre-spooled from Walmart. A Lou's Cat Daddy. All I did was throw a hook on the end of it, and it caught one of the biggest fish I've ever caught. So that's very true. The expensive stuff's nice, but it's not a must.
It is, but it's
Right.
not necessary.
Right.
Right.
So what would you say, Chris?
Well, I mean, since she stole my answer, I guess. I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
I mean that's the big one right there. I mean, and you hear everybody say it.
Mhm.
We all like our Uncle Lou rods and our
We
Mad
do.
Cats and Hellcats and whatever else is out there. They're great, great, great pieces of equipment, but you don't need it. You can go out there and still catch fish without it. But I would guess I'll go with, you don't need a boat. Boats are nice, get you into a lot of places that you can't get to otherwise.
Mhm.
But there's many people out there that catch great fish off the bank. You might have to do a lot more work, but you can do it.
That's true.
Daddy, what would you say is the biggest must know for new catfish anglers?
Well, I think we done touched on it. As far as my biggest must know is fresh bait. Fresh bait, whether you're fishing from the bank, you're fishing from a boat, it doesn't matter where you're fishing from. Fresh bait is always a key.
And Cody, before you go, I want to add to that a little bit too, because we've talked about fresh bait twice now, and I'd never touched a fresh skipjack in my life until we went to Tennessee. The skipjack that we got had been frozen.
Yep.
I know, some of them you get them and they're mushy and you can just tell right off this ain't no good. But we've got some that I was like, man, this is really good. Somebody did this right, But when we got that fresh skipjack from Bobcat down there, Bobcat and Big Mike and Daryl, I think, all gave us some, and maybe even Roger. But when we got that fresh skipjack and you cut that skipjack, no comparison. I mean, it's so much better than that frozen stuff.
Well, I mean, like right now, when we go fishing right now, we're going to be using frozen skipjack. But the key to that is taking good care of it. Making sure just as soon as you catch it, get it on ice. We took them home. We dried every one of them. We dried them off, put them in a vacuum seal bag, vacuum sealed them, and got them in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's obviously not going to be as good as just fresh caught bait because they still don't bleed or put off the scent like fresh caught bait. But for dealing with frozen bait, it's far superior than what you're buying at the bait shops and at Cabela's or Bass Pro, things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
I can buy skipjack here, but I've got to drive an hour to do it, and it's nowhere near the Ohio. It's in Bloomington, Indiana. There's a lake over there, and there's a bait shop there that sells frozen skipjack, and they're never any good.
So mine would be that you can watch YouTube, you can get stuff that's going to help you brainstorm and think like that. But nobody can tell you what's going to be perfect for you, how you fish, what's your strong suits, and what you're going to be better at. Even if you fish the same lake as me, what I'm good at might not be what you're good at. What you're good at might not be what I'm good at. Time on the water is the only way to truly get better. And don't get discouraged because there's plenty of days that me and Dad go out. Everybody in this chat goes out and they wish they'd caught more. They wish the bite had been bigger. They wish they had caught a big fish that day. And it just doesn't happen. That's part of fishing. So don't get discouraged. You'll get better with time on the water.
Now, and another thing too, for somebody that's new, I guess, and I still consider us new. I mean, we're new. But for somebody that, let's say they live up in Michigan, like Robin, there's no blues up there. At least I don't think there are, but there's channel cats. So target those. You know, we all like to watch big channel cats caught too. You know, don't get discouraged because you can't go catch an 80. You know, most people don't do that regularly anyway. So
And
just target the biggest
don't
fish that you have.
I mean, actually, it's on my bucket list to go one of these spots you can catch a 20 or a 30-pound channel cat. You know, that's probably the meanest fish in the waters right there.
I'm telling you, I caught a 20 in it up at Mendota, and whew, they fight you all the way to the boat. They fight you while they're in the boat, and they'll fight you when you're putting them back in the water.
Yeah, channel
And
cats.
sometimes those big fish come as it's just a luck thing, just like mine was.
Well, I mean, you put yourself in the right spot. You do the best you can to put yourself in the right spot, a spot that you think is going to be a high producing spot or a place that's going to hold big fish. And you put the right baits in, or the best bait you can in. And from there, it is luck, whether or not that fish is going to eat or not.
Yep.
You know, and whether you know there's bigger fish in your water or not, be proud of each accomplishment you make. You know,
absolutely.
I caught a PB here a week or two ago. It's not as big as Dad's PB. It's not as big as Telly's. It's not as big as Chris's. But I'm still ecstatic I caught it because it's that step in progression I made for myself. And so once you hit that, whether it be a 10-pound blue is your new PB, that's a step in the right direction. So you have to be happy for that progress as it goes. You know, so sometimes it's baby steps. Sometimes you do like Chris and you make a 40-pound jump. And
I mean,
well, it wasn't 40. It was 60.
Well, sometimes you make a 60, you know, but sometimes it's incremental steps. Every one of them you should be just as happy for. When you catch, say you've caught a 10-pounder and you catch an 11-pounder, be just as excited for that as you're going to be when you catch something bigger, because you're getting better, and the proof's in the pudding. Matt asked, what's your favorite rig to use that works in every condition or situation?
I mean, if you're talking in every situation, I mean, I guess I have to do the suspending thing, because I can suspend when I'm anchored. I can suspend when I'm dragging baits. I can suspend when we're drifting. You know, I mean, with that suspending setup, even though I'm dragging 4 and suspending 2, you know, I mean, it's just, you can always have a rod suspended. Now, I don't know if that's what he's getting at, or if he wanted to hear something like, you know, a Carolina rig or a Santee Cooper rig. I mean, because we use both, you know.
That's what I would say is some version of the Carolina rig, you know, whether it's modified in some way or what, but it'd be some version of the Carolina rig.
If you only have one to use for the rest of your life, it almost has to be the Carolina rig in my eyes, because you drag with it by just changing it to a drift sinker. You can anchor fish with it. You can suspend fish with it. If it's a real rocky bottom and you want to get that bait, you know, there's some places you want the bait all the way on bottom, but it'll still work in those areas too. The bait will just be floated up a little, which isn't a big deal. But on, you know, a real rocky shoreline or something, it's going to get that bait up out of those rocks. It will work in about every condition you can think of.
Yep.
So to me, Santee Cooper rig's pretty universal. See if we can, and if anybody else has any other questions in chat, be sure just to go ahead and drop them. I see Ricky's in here with us now. Richard Cluck's in here. Billy from Cold Creek Catfishing. Want to say welcome to all y'all, and anybody else I missed as we were sitting here jawing. Thank y'all all for coming in.
And while we were talking, I seen that Stan 3 had made another comment a while ago, and that was not to be too stubborn to try new things. And
absolutely
true.
I'm bad about it. I'm bad about it. I did not, you know, we drag baits a lot too. And I hated it at first. I refused to do it because I didn't want to do it. It was something new. We were catching fish anchoring. Why are we going to do this? Well, now we're catching a lot more fish and a lot better fish. And it was just going back to what Stan says here.
Yep.
You got any experiences like that?
Yeah, not as far as getting frustrated. I mean, she says I get frustrated too easy, and
You got to
and
be
I do sometimes. I don't have the patience, I
No.
guess.
and you need
Sometimes,
patience,
you know, like
sometimes.
especially when it comes to anchoring, because anchoring or spot locking, because I don't like sitting still. I want to be moving. I feel like, you know, covering that ground, find more fish, you know.
Mhm.
But I know that there are times when I have to just sit there, you know, and I've been doing it the last few times I went out, been spot locking instead of trying to drag or drift or anything. And it's worked sometimes and sometimes it hasn't. But I was going somewhere with this and now I lost it. But
You do that too?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, while we got a second here, if everybody in chat could hit that thumbs up for us, I would appreciate it. It goes a long way to helping the channel grow. Also, let me go ahead and tell y'all, if you click on the description, I think everybody in here's for me got Hooks and Hammocks, but if you haven't, Hooks and Hammocks links is in the description, as well as a link to get some of the best products there is. The link to get Uncle Lou planer boards and rods is also in there, as well as a link to Demon Dragons, which we use. They help us out a lot. So just wanted to put that out there. Should have said it at the beginning of the show, but it's out there now.
I know where I was kind of going now, but one thing I will say is if they haven't been dragging baits and they're thinking about trying it, just know up front you're going to get snagged, and you're going to get snagged a lot.
Mhm.
It's part of dragging. You just have to accept it. It's frustrating as all get out when you got 6 rods out and 4 of them get snagged all at the same time, and it's a mess. But sometimes it happens, you know.
You know, you're talking about that. You know, sometimes we kind of pick and choose where we drag because of that. But I tell you what, sometimes when you drag, you do go ahead and drag them baits through them minefields. That's when you pick up some of them better fish.
We did that. We did that in the Licking River. I mean, you look at your graph, and you're in that Licking River, and you're like, man, this is a gnarly mess. And I was like, you know what? We're dragging it. We're going to get hung up, but we're going to drag it. And we caught fish doing it. We were. That was in the Kirkpatrick's tournament they had where we almost beat Brian B. We had him.
Little 2-ounce fish.
We had him. But we were dragging the Licking River, and I mean, it's a tangled, gnarly mess at the bottom of that river.
Oh, yeah.
You know what Chad says here is completely true. We drag baits with 8 rods out, and the moment you cast that 8th rod and get the planer board flipped out to the side, one gets snagged, and then even worse, most of the time it'll pop loose, and then another one snags, and it's snagged good. So it's like, oh man, it snagged. Great, it come loose. Nope, that and snag now. You know, it's not bad enough that one just got snagged. It's got to play with your emotions. One comes loose, and the other won't.
It is definitely emotional.
I want to give Roger some credit here on this dragging stuff too, because he was the one that told me, you know, use the lightest dragging sinker you can use. That helps reduce the snags. You know, you don't need 4 ounces of weight dragging baits in a lake. You just don't need it. You know, you only need what you need to get you to the bottom and keep you there. And that lighter weight and everything, it doesn't jerk back when it comes unsnagged. It calms everything down. You know what I mean?
Well, we get all our dragon sinkers and weights from a gentleman, a good friend of ours here locally. He's got a YouTube. Well, he doesn't have any content on it, but you'll see him in chat under SS Jello Chicken.
Yeah,
and he makes the long, skinny, braided loom type dragon weights, and we've used the pencil weights that are more rigid, the shorter ones, the longer ones, all the different ones. And I really like those short, skinny ones that are like braided loom. We use 3 ounce. You could get by with less weight, but I like the 3 ounce, especially in his design, because only the tail end of that's really off the bottom after you put a good float on your Santee rig, because it pulls up and it seems to really go up over everything really well. We don't have a big problem out of getting snagged. It happens. It's going to happen a few different times while you're out there throughout the day. But we get snagged significantly less now than we did before using those weights.
I don't think anything's ever going to prevent you. You're still going to happen. I don't care.
Nature of the beast.
It's going
It
to
is
happen.
what it is.
You
Yeah.
can
You're going to
reduce
lose wigs. You're going to lose floats. You're going to lose hooks. You're going to lose sinkers, and it all adds up, and it all does get expensive. But if you're going to drag baits, it just got to know going in, you're going to lose tackle.
You can reduce it by using the right things, but like you
Yeah.
said, you're still going to hang some. You're still going to lose some gear, no matter what. Cody just left us.
Yep.
Greenwell's yelling at Chad.
Oh, well. Well, I know you were talking about suspended. So how much do you suspend? How much do you actually suspend baits? And do you use different rods when you suspend than when you're dragging?
Well, so the using different rods answer is yes and no. I actually had bought 2 rods, the Catfish Sumo 2.0s, strictly for suspending. Those were going to be my kayak rods, and now we hardly ever go in the kayaks anymore, but they're in the boat. When I suspend, those are the first 2 I grab. They're stiff rods, they're light, they're small. They make really good suspending rods. Now, right over there in the corner are 2 FOA rods. Those are also going to become suspending rods as soon as we get reels for them, because we're poor people. But we, at times, when we're out on the boat and a certain, dragging hasn't been working, and I decide we want to flip over and start drifting or suspending,
Right.
then we just use the poles we've got. They're already Santee Cooper rigged or Carolina rigged. We switch over and change weights and suspend those. But I just like the stiffer rods for suspending because I'm putting at least 8 ounces on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I don't like when I put it when I'm suspending. I don't like the rod to be all drooped over. The stiffer rod. I like it better.
Yeah. And the takedown you get when you've got that rod horizontal to the water, they just really, really slam it. So having something that has more backbone to it, it hits that backbone a little closer to the tip, makes a pretty good difference, I would say.
Like
That's why I quit talking, because I knew where chat was going to go. That's why I stopped.
What's that?
Talking about stiff rods.
Oh,
Well, the suspend fishing is what we do the least. We've matter of fact, we've done very little, but most of the time we're fishing on a lake, so we're dragging baits most of the time, and about the only time anymore if we are gonna anchor up, it's just because the weather's bad, the wind's bad or something, and we just can't drag where we want to, so we're
Right.
gonna anchor up.
Well, and I hate anchoring, spot locking. Like I said, I don't like setting still. I'm getting better, but you get into the river and you got some current, you might as well forget dragging.
Right.
So what am I going to do now and keep the boat moving? Suspend.
Right.
So
yeah, then that's it. We have to travel if we're going to fish a river anywhere. We have to travel to fish a river, but we have a lake right here in my backyard, so I live 5 minutes from the lake, so that's where we're fishing most of the time.
yeah, and it's fed by a river,
But
but
it's small.
people's seen us on our videos. When we're fishing the river, we still drag baits because the current is. You throw your bluegill rod out with a float on it, and the floats. It's going to take it 45 minutes for it to float past you, unless we just had some torrential downfall or something.
we got times on the Ohio where you can drag it. The current's low enough that you can still drag on the Ohio. But last several times we went out, there's been too much current to do it. Unless you drag with the current, and then you're moving it a mile and a half an hour. And
I still have it, Mike. I haven't even tried to sell it.
No, we need to call about the Tarova he just bought because it's a little loose. Where the shaft slides up and down through the motor there, it's got a little play in it, and it's putting off a vibration sound because of it. And it's a brand new trolling motor. So you spend over $2,000 on one, you want it to be right. So he needs to call Minn Kota on that. But there's only one right answer to this next question. So take your time. Think about it long. Okay. Give it some real hard thought.
Okay.
Who is your most favorite person you've gotten to fish with so far?
Oh my.
He might be the best at throwing a cast net you've ever seen. He's probably like 6'2", 285 pounds. Very, very handsome.
Well, I thought you was talking about yourself till you said that.
You, Daddy.
I wasn't even talking about that. But, for me, you've embarrassed Telly.
No, what's funny is I was like, okay, I can't say that.
For anybody that doesn't know, it's all Daryl and Bobcat's fault. The reason he said that, we had a little wager on the Tennessee versus the James, and Stan 2 and Dustin pulled it out there at the end for me. So
No. Greenwell.
Oh my.
He said nursery rhyme, best trip ever. So I'm not going to go into detail on that, but the very first time we ever met Mike Greenwell, we fished with him. We drove down to fish with him, and it was cold.
It was cold.
It was real cold. We get back to the boat ramp, and there's no dock, so we just pulled up on the boat ramp. I get out of the boat. I'm kind of holding the boat. She's still sitting in the boat. Mike goes up to get the truck, and she says some things that she probably regrets. Nothing bad.
I did at the time, but it's hilarious.
But then I said, hey, those GoPros are still running.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen a video of it?
No. We keep threatening her that we're going to put it out there, but
hey, how's it going, Mark?
Might be released on TikTok.
maybe.
TikTok.
Well,
If we were going to ever do it, it'd have to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
Speaking of GoPros, what is something that's happened on the water that you wish you had on camera?
Her 70.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't get it videoed?
No, when we got out there that morning, it was super. Well, so that was the hurricane. When we went to Virginia, that was the tail end of that hurricane. We're getting in there. It's still kind of raining and windy, and we're out. There's a lot of wind. And I was like, I'm not even setting the camera up. It'll be useless footage because it's so windy. And first fish she catches is a 70.
And we only had the rods out, maybe 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It was the first fish of the day.
Yeah, the thing I wish I had on video was just what you were just talking about, but I didn't catch no 70-pound fish. The wind was blowing awful, and I had my tripod set up with my phone in it, and I'm trying to drag into the wind. The wind's really blowing too much. I'm by myself, and all of a sudden my rod hangs up. And anyway, I'm trying to get it unhung, and the gust of wind comes. There goes my phone and the tripod all over the side of the boat. So I dropped my rod to reach and grab it. I grabbed the tripod, the end of the leg, sticking out of the water that much, pull it back in the boat. About that time, there goes my rod shooting off the boat, where the boat's still moving.
Wow.
And fortunate enough, that rod had a planer board on it. So I get my phone back in and everything. I go to the planer board and I start pulling the line in. I get the rod and reel back. I get my phone and the tripod back. But I'd give anything if I'd had another camera set up somewhere that could have caught all that chaos.
He got that rod back that way one time. Cannon cast one time and cast the rod into the water. We tried to fish it out.
Mine.
And I go to pull the anchor rope in. This was back before we did much dragging. We was primarily anchor fishing. And I see a hook hooked into the anchor rope there at the end. So I dig it out of it and I start pulling on the line. Well, it was a spinning reel that he had cast. Well, he threw it in when casting, so the bail was still open. I pulled line in for 35, 40 minutes there, it seemed like. And then finally at the end, I'm thinking this whole time, because it was it was just a little dock demon of his. And I'm thinking, it come pre-spoiled. Watch them not tie a knot at the end. I pulled all this line in and watch it not have a knot at the end, and I'm just going to get all this line in the boat. But we got it back. And he sat there and he reeled it all back up and he fished with it the rest of the day. That same rod went in the water
three times.
Yeah,
3 times.
He's cast it in the water 3 times.
Wow.
So I don't know about that dock demon, but he can't keep it in his hands.
Yeah, she bought a kayak rod before we went to Mendota. Not this year, but the year before. And we decided one afternoon, I think, was like, let's just, they had a little dock, and the dock had a railing. It was probably, I don't know, 4 feet up or so. And inside that railing, they had holes drilled where they made rod holders.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she had problems with the reel that was on that rod. So we ran to the store and bought her a new reel and had them put line on it and everything while we were there. And then when we got back over to the lake, we decided to just fish off that dock. So I'm throwing rods out for her, and being a brand new reel and everything, I, set it up, and I was like, I'll just go ahead and cast it out and make sure everything's set up right. And, I just got done casting, I don't know how many rods out before I get this little one. And, there's not much of a handle on it because it's a little short kayak rod. And I threw that out and it went straight out of my hands, and it hit that railing and popped up. And if it hadn't done that, it'd have been in Lake Mendota.
Yep.
When it hit that railing and popped up, I was able to reach out and catch it. Brand new rod, brand new reel. She'd never even caught a fish on it yet. And I almost threw it in the lake.
And he thought I didn't see it.
So on top of being a great fisherman, you got cat-like reflexes.
Cat-like reflexes.
Yes, he does. Right. Yep.
No, I think I'm the one with the cat-like reflexes, and I wish we had it on camera that day when I was fishing with y'all and I went to tie us off to the tree on the bank.
We see here's a lesson for everybody out there. All right, no matter what, if you're a YouTuber, always be recording, because you never know what's going to happen.
And remember that it's whatever's being recorded.
I did the splits, boy. My legs they were spread.
I've already got, I'm trying to drive the boat up on the bank to keep you from falling in the lake, but I can't go any farther because the boat's hitting the bottom. I'm like, I don't know what to do other than keep the motor in gear so it doesn't back out on you.
Well, it's a big lesson that, and I know this anyways, it's especially from kayaking, you learn it quick. You don't ever put your hands on anything that's stationary while the kayak's moving under you. Same thing with a boat. You don't ever leave one foot on the boat and then put the other on the dock. You take them both at the same time. You don't put one on the dry land.
You got to commit, man. You got to go.
Yeah, but I was trying to hold the boat with one foot, and I guess I hadn't done enough squats. My legs wasn't strong enough to hold the boat in one place, and I did the splits and ended up from the knees down in the water and mud all over me. And then Chris made fun of my cast net, if I remember right.
Yep. Well, he's got a 6-foot net. It's got an 8-foot hole in it.
But he caught bait.
And he's still catching bait with it. I don't know how he did it.
Who caught more bait that day though? Me with my 6-foot net with 8-foot hole, or you with your net that had no holes?
You did. You wouldn't let me throw the net. No, you just hit right there. I'm going to catch the bait. I was like, you have at it, buddy.
I still have no clue how I was pulling them bait either.
I don't know, but you did.
You did, though.
But I want to talk about your cat-like reflexes because I remember a video not too long ago where you couldn't even take 3 steps running before hitting the ground.
Well, tonight, Fields of Water is going to be him and Freddie in the thumbnail. I didn't see anybody else, but it says "'Tis the Season Bait Shop."
Yeah,
I'm very disappointed because I put that online and I was hoping maybe, it's as embarrassing I'll get out. I done nosed up in the road trying to race a 7-year-old. And I said, well, but maybe it'll get some views, Heck, this is liable to be a really popular video. It didn't get no views, and I've gotten made fun of and didn't get nothing out of it.
Wow.
it's funny. You're talking about it. Just yesterday, I showed it to some guys at work. And this one guy said, "You got to send that to America's Funniest Home Videos. You'll win the money."
Is that still on?
Yeah.
Wow. I
It is.
didn't think that show was still on.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's one of my wife's favorite TV shows, so she makes me watch it.
Uncle Lou
Look
said
here.
T-Rex. I think he's talking about Cody. He had it out the bathroom.
Because I was holding my arm up. He wants to call me T-Rex. It hurt. My arm's still not healed up from it. It's still got thin skin there. That
I don't even know. I haven't seen him in here, but Trophy Seekers Outdoors, Daryl. When we were down there on the Tennessee River, I told him, I said, "Hey, Telly and I want to go fish that Raccoon Mountain area. We want to fish those 100-foot holes. Will you mind, going down there with us, show us where they're at and stuff?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So he was in his boat, we were in our boat, and we 15 miles downriver to get to these holes. We get down there and we fish for a while, and then Telly and I start seeing lightning off in the distance. So we start heading back up towards Daryl and them, and he's like, "Oh, no, we're going to be all right." So it's dark now, and she has to go potty. So we keep a bucket, like Cody does. We keep a bucket that she can use, and I'm turning off the lights on the boat and stuff so nobody sees her. Daryl grabbed his big old spotlight, and he doesn't know what's going on.
No.
But he turns that big old spotlight right over there on our boat. He's like, "Hey, the storm's coming. We got to go."
I'm like, hey.
So we did fish the 100-foot hole down there at Suck Creek when we were down last time we were on the Tennessee River. And I look up, and there's this big boat coming at us.
big paddle boat, huge paddle boat.
Huge. So I tell Cody, I said, "Do you think we need to go ahead and start moving and move over?" "Oh, no, they got plenty of room to go." And all of a sudden that thing, wonk, wonk. Then we go to trying to move. Rods are hung up and everything else. We end up just having to throw it in gear and take off with the rods hung up and everything.
Dragging the anchor with us, and the anchor hangs up. As soon as I let off when I let off the throttle, well, of course, the boat pulls back to downstream of the anchor. Well, the anchor's hung up underneath to where this paddle boat is. So I'm over here full throttle, just trying to pull against the resistance of our anchor rope, but not hit it so hard that it pulls the bow of the boat underwater and we start taking on water. And we had a buddy with us, and he said, "Whoo, we ain't listening to Cody no more." But in my defense, when they were both saying, "Yeah, we needed to move," and I said, "Nah, let's stay here," and they said, "Okay." I said, "But I'm not very smart, and listening to me will get you in trouble." I told him that. Daddy knows that. He's known me my whole life, obviously. He should know better, but he listened to me, and I about got us killed.
Yes. But another thing that happened that day in that hole, we were sitting in that hole. I would say we were in 85 foot of water, throwing into the 100 and some foot.
Mm-hmm.
A blue cat is out there in that deep water, and he rolls up plumb out of the water.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
me and Randall from Trophy Seekers what is
Whisker
his
Seeker Outdoors.
Whisker Seeker Outdoors? He was with us. We both saw it, and we were talking about, man, that was a monster blue cat. I mean, this catfish weighed 80 pounds at least. And Cody is like, there ain't no way in this deep water a blue cat's out here rolling. It wasn't just a few minutes later, the thing rolled again right next to the boat. So I don't know. I don't know if he was chasing bait up to the top of the water or why he was rolling, but he rolled twice there, right where we were.
You know, you just don't think in 80 foot of water that of monster blue cats being at the surface.
Right.
And I honestly didn't believe him. I was like, there's no way. And then I looked, hey, there he was.
That's another thing that we could say out, for people that are new to catfishing is they're not just on the bottom. I mean,
No.
I've actually seen up here, one of the lakes that I fish up here. We'd go out in the spring or in the spring summer when the mulberries fall. We would go out and put mulberries on a hook with light tackle and try to catch carp and stuff just to have fun. But we. Good Lord. But I was out there one day, and one of the biggest channel cats I've ever seen in my life was swimming with his mouth open across the top of the water, catching those mulberries. So they will come up and feed.
And another thing you just said, they don't only eat meat, they eat vegetation also.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I mean, some of the biggest fish we've caught this year have come out of 5 and 6 foot of water with 3 and 4 foot leader lines on. So we're fishing much closer to the surface at that point than we are the bottom. I mean, it's not deep water there at the surface because the bait's in 5 foot of water. But they're still feet. I much rather have a bait higher than lower. I think they're more prone to feed up than they are to feed down.
Absolutely. I agree with that. They're going to go up before they come down to get it.
Right.
Well, we've got a few minutes left here before we go ahead and shut it down because Fields the Water's coming on, the bait shop.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know. Who is that?
Who did?
You're going to be in trouble.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of her.
Chris, I know you've got something exciting coming up at the beginning of the year for all the supporters over on your channel. You want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about that for everybody that hadn't heard?
So that's something that Telly and I had been talking about for a while, doing something, give back to the members of the channel. And then thank you, Brian B., for actually doing it and lighting a fire. We are doing a members only giveaway. It'll be on January the 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern. Members only. Memberships start at 99 cents. So, 99 cents for a chance to win an Uncle Lou's rod or a gift card of your choice. 99 cents a month. And as long as we get members and we keep members, there'll be many more of those giveaways to come.
Yep.
And you'll be supporting a great channel. Chris and Telly.
Channel's that?
They will. They'll help any and everybody they can out. They put out amazing content. They do a little bit of everything that's involved in the outdoors. So not only for the giveaway, go over, show them some love. If you click that description button or type in Hooks and Hammocks on the search bar, their link is in the description or they're easy to find. Go over to their channel and you'll join their channel membership from there. Let's show them some love and help them out with that. Is there anything else y'all have coming up you want to mention?
I'm reading Brian B's comment. 99 cents, you could have saved $4 a month. I don't know. Anything else? I don't know. I mean, we want to go fishing.
Yep.
I mean,
We got CatCon coming up.
yeah, CatCon's coming.
Well, I do know Chris has done told me next week he's going to be out on the water probably quite a bit. So keep an eye out. he'll have some streams posted probably for that. I don't know of any exact details, but stay tuned. Next week, there should be some great content coming from Hooks and Hammocks.
Yeah, we got to see what this weather does.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Here at 3+1 Outdoors, we always pray at the end of all our live streams, or we like to and try to. So we're going to let Daddy end us out with a short prayer here. It is 7 o'clock, and then we're going to send you over to Fields to Water.
All right. Thank you, Heavenly Father, Lord, just for the opportunity to come and be here tonight, Lord, and just enjoy time with all these great people, Lord. This catfish community, Lord, is just each and every one of them are special to my heart, Lord. I just thank you, Lord, that you gave me the opportunity, Lord, to be a part of this great group of people, Lord, and just ask you to be the guiding light beneath our feet, and we ask you to put a hedge of safety around us. And Lord, I seen that Robin C. has a great praise report, and we thank you, Lord, for loving us and always taking care of us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Well, hey, thank y'all for being here. We're going to make this a weekly thing. We got an awesome guest scheduled for next week, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to drop the link real quick to Fields to Water so it's easier for y'all to find it. If y'all just want to click the link and go straight over, there it is. As we always say, it's God, family, and the great outdoors. God bless and see y'all next time.